It's that time again as Monarch Radio brings you back to those golden days before television, when radio was the main source of family entertainment in the home. Stay tuned for another one of those drama or comedy episodes from way back when, as performed by the Monarch old-time radio players.
Gunsmoke is one of those long-running classic old-time radio shows that everyone knows and remembers. Billed as the first adult Western, it is still respected for its storylines, well-written radio plays, and acting. Gunsmoke first aired on the CBS network on April 26, 1952. It was set in Dodge City, Kansas in the 1870s. The main character, Matt Dillon, was played by William Conrad. Conrad was an American World War II fighter pilot, actor, producer, and director, whose entertainment career spanned 5 decades in radio, film, and television, peaking in popularity when he starred in the television detective series Cannon. Other regular characters in Gunsmoke were Chester Proudfoot, played by Parley Bear, Kitty, played by Georgia Ellis, and Doc Adams, played by Howard McNear. Before the series ended on June 18, 1961, 480 episodes were produced, making it one of the most widely listened to series. Now it's Monarch Radio's pleasure to bring to its listening audience a recreation of one of those episodes, Reward for Matt, from April 30th, 1955. Gunsmoke. Around Dodge City and in the territory out west, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad, the transcribed story of the violence that moved west with young America, and the story of a man who moved with it.
I'm that man, Matt Dillon, United States Marshal, the first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful and a little lonely.
Hey, Doc.
Hello, Chester.
Come on over and sit down.
Well, I guess it won't hurt for a minute or two, just to sit down.
It might as well be sitting out here on the street as loafing around your office.
Oh, is that so? Well,
Now, wait a minute. Didn't mean nothing, Doc. I wasn't even a-thinking.
I can believe that. What's bothering you, Chester?
It's Mr. Dillon.
What?
I'm kind of worried about him, Doc.
You are? Well, why?
Well, look, here it is near dark, and he ain't showed up yet. I don't even know where he is.
Well, I think Matt can take care of himself, Chester.
Sure, but usually he leaves a note or something, Doc.
Well, a man doesn't have to do things the same way all the time.
I know that.
Now, for instance, it's like Mrs. Hull the other day. She came to ask me how to get her baby to sleep at night. Now, for example, what would you have told her?
Ah, Doc.
Now you think, Chester. After all, you were a baby once. How'd your mother get you to sleep?
She didn't have no trouble.
Well, the usual way is to rock the baby. But you know what I told Mrs. Hull to do?
Doc, I really ain't interested in babies.
Well, you're going to hear anyway. I told her to take the baby and smear its little fingers with thick molasses.
What?
Yep. And then I told her to give it a half-dozen chicken feathers.
What for?
Well, I figured it'd pluck the feathers from hand to hand till it fell asleep. And then if it woke up again, all she had to do was give it some more molasses and feathers.
Seems to me that only make the little baby mad.
Oh, mad. That shows how much you know about babies, Chester.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Can't we talk about something else, Doc?
Certainly. You start something this time.
Wait a minute. That's Mr. Dillon.
Where?
riding up the street there, leading that horse with the pack on it.
Oh, yeah.
Doc, look,
What?
that ain't no pack he's got tied on that horse.
No, that isn't.
That's a man, a dead one.
Yep.
Who do you suppose it is?
Well, I don't know.
Mr. Dillon?
Hello, Chester. Doc.
Hello, Matt.
Who you got there?
Mel Hornby.
Mel Hornby?
I went out to ask him some questions about that sodbuster that got murdered last month.
Oh, Jake Reeves?
Yeah, but Hornby took offense and he tried to kill me.
You think he had something to do with Reeves' murder, Matt?
He did it, Doc. He admitted it just before he died.
A big rancher like old Mel Hornby killing a half-starved poor little homesteader?
They had an argument about something and Hornby's temper got the best of him, the way it did today.
How come you brought the body to Dodge, Matt? I should think Mrs. Hornby'd want him out there.
I didn't find him at home, Doc. He was out on the prairie handling some stock. I'll get a wagon in the morning and take him back.
I don't envy you. Old Mrs. Hornby's a pretty mean woman.
Yeah, I know.
You better let Chester do that. She can't blame him for anything.
No, I'll do it, Doc. I'm the one who killed him.
Morning, Mr. Dillon.
Morning, Chester.
I hired a team and wagon for you. It's standing outside.
Thanks.
Near 10 o'clock already.
I'll get started directly.
Where's my husband? You got him in here?
Won't you sit down, ma'am?
I've been sitting down since dawn on a saddle. When my husband didn't come home last night, I figured it had something to do with you. You found him, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am, I found him.
Well, where is he? You got him in jail on some fool charge? I want to know what's going on, Marshal. I should have made you tell me when you come by yesterday.
Mrs. Hornby, your husband's dead.
What?
He tried to kill me.
You shot him?
I had to.
You killed my husband?
I wanted to talk to him about Jake Reeves, but as soon as I mentioned Reeves' name, he went for his gun. I'm sorry it happened that way, ma'am.
I don't believe you. Why would he do that? Why do you care about Jake Reeves?
He killed him, Mrs. Hornby. I didn't know that, but he admitted it before he died.
Is that true?
Yes, ma'am, it's true.
Well, he should have had a trial. He'd have got off. Who cares about a man like Jake Reeves? You murdered my husband, Marshal. He didn't have a chance against you.
He had a gun and he tried to kill me with it, ma'am.
It's too bad he didn't. But you're gonna die anyway, Marshal.
What?
I said, you're gonna die. I've got money. I'm gonna get you killed.
Now, wait a minute, ma'am.
$1,000. That ought to do it. And you can't stop me. There ain't a thing in the world you can do about it.
All right, all right. Who are you going to hire?
So you can be watching for him, or maybe go right after him? No, it ain't gonna work that way, Marshal. It ain't one man I'm gonna hire. It's gonna be a whole army of men. You won't have a chance any more than my husband did. Now, where's his body? I'm gonna get him buried and then go to work on getting you killed.
More coffee, Matt?
No, thanks, Kitty. I've had enough. Good dinner, wasn't it?
Matt, you're awful calm for a man who's been threatened the way you have.
Mrs. Hornby?
Oh, don't you think she meant what she said yesterday?
Well, I don't know where she's going to hire an army for $1,000, but I suppose it's some kind of compliment if she thinks I'm that hard to kill.
You're not taking this very serious, Matt.
There's nothing I can do till I find out what she's up to, Kitty.
Well, maybe she's just crazy. She sure sounds like it.
Maybe.
Where'd she bury him, Matt? Did she take him back to the ranch?
No, she buried him up on Boot Hill. She said if that's the way he got killed, that's the place he was going to get buried.
Sounds like she was mad at him.
I think it was shame, Kitty. She wasn't proud of her husband getting shot down like an ordinary lawbreaker.
That's a pretty easy word for a murderer.
I don't think his killing Jake Reeves meant a thing to her, Kitty. He might as well have shot a horse for all she cared.
All she cares about's herself.
Mr. Dillon. Hello, Miss Kitty.
Hello, Chester. Sit down and have some coffee.
I'll sit, but there ain't no time for coffee.
What's that poster you've got there, Chester?
Well, that's what I come to find you about, Mr. Dillon. I tore this here poster off the board down at the depot, but there's more of them. Fellow there told me she's putting them up all over Dodge.
What?
Here, you read it.
$1,000 reward for the first man that can prove Matt Dillon is dead. He doesn't have to prove anything else. Money is in safe at Dodge House and will be paid in cash immediately. Signed, Mrs. Mel Hornby.
Why, Matt, she can't get by with that. You can put her in jail.
He sure can. And I'll go around and tear down the rest of them posters, Mr. Dillon.
No, Chester. Too many people have read them by now, Chester, and some of them are already thinking about it.
Then put her in jail till she takes it back, Matt. Make her print up some more saying it isn't true.
You think she'd do that, Kitty, Mrs. Hornby?
Matt, you're going to have every greedy bum in Dodge out trying to ambush you.
Yeah, Kitty, a whole army of them. I spent the next couple of days looking over one shoulder everywhere I went and sitting with my back to the wall and keeping away from windows. And come evenings, I tried to get set somewhere before it got dark so I wouldn't have to walk past alleyways through patches of light on the street. It strings a man tight living that way. Too tight. I found that out one afternoon when Chester and I were sitting on the porch in front of the office.
I locked the door out back, Mr. Dillon. At least there ain't nobody gonna come up on you that way.
Good.
Well, wouldn't you be better off sitting inside?
Out here, I can see what's going on.
Couldn't see a man with a rifle if he hid out in one of them buildings across the street.
No, and I can't dig a hole and hide in it either.
No, sir. Look, yonder at that fool kid. He's gonna run somebody down riding that way.
He's trying to ride like an Indian. Look how low he's bent.
Hey, he's got a gun in his hand.
Duck, Chester.
Mr. Dillon, you hurt Mr. Dillon?
Nah, he missed me, but he was shooting mighty close.
Well, you got him.
Yeah, I got him.
That kid must be crazy, riding like that, trying to shoot you.
Yeah,
Say, you don't suppose...
I don't know, Chester. He's still alive. I'll carry him up to Doc's. You take care of his horse.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
My. He's awful young, ain't he?
yeah, he's awful young. How is he, Doc?
Come on in, Matt. He's conscious now, but I don't know how long it'll last.
Is he going to die?
You better hurry if you want to talk to him, Matt.
Oh, okay. How you feeling, son?
Bad. Real bad, Marshal.
Doc will take good care of you. Who are you? What's your name?
Can't tell you my name.
Well, why not?
My name don't matter.
All right. But you tried to shoot me. Why?
Reward. $1,000. Oh, we needed that money. We needed it bad.
Who needed it?
I seen you sitting there, and I went and got my horse. I almost killed you, but I'm sorry. I did it. I'm really sorry.
Don't worry about that now. Everything's going to be.
Marshal.
Son, Doc,
I'm right here, Matt.
he's dead.
Well, nobody could have saved him.
No. How old would you say he was, Doc?
Oh, 15 maybe? It's not your fault, Matt.
I killed him.
Now, Matt.
I'm going over to the Dodge house, Doc.
Mrs. Hornby?
Yeah?
Oh, it's you. I thought it was somebody come for their money.
Somebody almost did, Mrs. Hornby.
That's so.
I killed him.
You kill a lot of people, don't you, Marshal?
When I have to.
Well, maybe the next one will get you.
Maybe.
What'd you come to see me here for?
I thought maybe I could get you to change your mind.
What's the matter, Marshal? Getting scared?
Well, I don't enjoy knowing somebody might shoot me any minute.
Ha!
But I don't like the idea that I might have to shoot somebody any minute either.
No? Well, that shouldn't bother a man like you.
I told you your husband tried to kill me. Don't you understand that?
I don't care about understanding it.
Do you know who you hired this afternoon?
It don't matter. Except I wish he'd been a better gunman.
He wasn't a man, Mrs. Hornby. He was a boy, only 15 years old. He was poor. He needed the money for somebody else. I don't even know his name.
I thought you killed him. How do you know he did it for the money?
He didn't die right off.
Oh?
Well, how does it make you feel, Mrs. Hornby?
The next one won't be a boy, Marshal, or the one after that.
Mrs. Hornby,
What?
you're a terrible, selfish old woman. That night, a drunk staggered up to me on the street. He had a gun in his hand, but I buffaloed him before he could use it and threw him in jail. Later, about midnight, it was different. A mule skinner tried to shoot me from behind a water barrel. His first shot missed, and a second later, he discovered his mistake. The barrel was empty, and he died there, and nobody else seemed willing to take a chance, at least that night. The next day, about noon, Chester and I were on our way to Delmonico's when we saw Mrs. Hornby coming up Front Street.
She's looking right at you, Mr. Dillon.
She's probably going to complain about how I treat her hired hands.
Too bad she's a woman, ain't it?
Things would be a lot different if she wasn't, Chester.
Maybe she's thought it over. Maybe she's gonna change her mind.
It'll take more than a couple of killings for that.
She don't seem to care at all that her husband killed old Jake Reeves. My, if she ain't the one meanest looking woman, she's waiting for us. Hello, Mrs. Hornby.
I want to talk to you, Marshall.
All right.
I hear you killed another man last night.
The first of your men I killed was a boy, Mrs. Hornby.
You still harping on that?
It doesn't bother you at all, does it?
He was a fool to try it.
That money meant a lot to him.
Find out who he was?
No,
Well, it don't matter.
not to you.
Marshall, I'm going to make you a deal.
A deal?
That's what I said. I'm going to withdraw the reward if you get out of Dodge. Leave the country and don't ever come back.
Why?
It's my business. Why?
It's beginning to bother you. All that blood that's being spilled.
Never mind that. You going to do it?
You know, Mrs. Hornby, you haven't thought straight since your husband got shot.
Got shot by you.
By me.
What's your answer, Marshall?
Mrs. Hornby, I hate killing. I hate it as much as you hated losing your husband. But I'm not leaving.
You sure, Marshall?
I'm sure.
Hey, mister.
Who's that?
Go see what she wants, Chester.
Yes, sir. I'm coming, ma'am.
You'll just kill more men if you stay here till one of them gets you.
You're the only one who can stop that, Mrs. Hornby.
Well, I ain't gonna stop it. And some man that knows what he's doing will be coming along soon. Maybe today, Marshall.
You're not helping anybody this way.
Mr. Dillon,
Yeah?
this lady was looking for you. She drove that wagon all the way to town to find you. Near 20 miles, she says.
Oh, that's so? Well, what can I do for you, ma'am?
I don't want to bother you if you're busy, Marshall.
It's all right.
I'm looking for my boy.
Your boy?
He's going to get himself in trouble less'n I stop him. Bad trouble. I know it.
Oh, what's he planning to do, ma'am?
Well, I'm ashamed to tell you this, Marshall, but he took his gun when he left home yesterday.
So?
Well, there'd been talk about that $1,000 reward for you, Marshall.
How old was your boy, ma'am?
He was going on 16. He doesn't know what he's doing. I've got to find him and stop him, Marshall. He's only doing it because we're about to starve out there, him and me and my little girl.
Ma'am?
Wait, Marshall. You've got to understand the boy first, why he's doing it.
All right. Why?
My husband got killed a month ago, shot, and since then we've been near starving to death. The boy tried, but I ain't been making it.
Excuse me, ma'am. I want to ask you something.
Well, why, sure.
What's your name?
Mrs. Reeves. My husband was Jake Reeves. Did you know him?
No, I didn't. But my husband, he knew him. Didn't he, Marshall?
He did?
That's what he told me.
Well, what's your name?
Never mind my name right now, Mrs. Reeves.
Oh, why? I don't understand.
Marshall,
Yes, ma'am.
you were right about me being a terrible, selfish old woman. But would you do something for me?
I think so.
There'll be an envelope at the Dodge House. It'll be in your name. You know what to do with it.
Yes, ma'am. I think I know.
I'm going home now. Goodbye, Mrs. Reeves.
Goodbye. Well, I don't understand what she was saying, Marshall.
Mrs. Reeves, you want to come to my office and I'll try to explain it to you. I'll try to explain a lot of things to you.
Today's cast included yours truly, Charles Davis, as the announcer, Bill Steves as Matt Dillon, Charlie Pellissier as Chester, Linda Sardi as Kitty, George Hoover as Doc, Jane Atsumi as Mrs. Hornby, Howard Wishner as the kid, and Judy Katz as the woman. This episode was recorded and video edited by Judy Katz. This episode was directed by Cathy Kitcho, who also provided sound effects and audio editing for Monarch Radio using recordings from free sfx.co.uk as well as portions from the original broadcast. Casting and script selection was provided by Maureen Wishner.